Tampa with her husband. So she sends her condolences. She really hated to have to leave us.
Oh, man.
But they had to relocate. So we will be filling her seat in the next few weeks, months. We're going to get a new
Put out
person.
another candidate call. Somebody was asking me about that. I'm like, yeah, you can get on the committee.
You know, we're not really entirely sure because one unique thing with this committee is it's not like any of our other boards where it has to be council appointed. It's basically staff appointed. And because there's no governing authority for the clerk's office, you know, we don't have to go before council. We don't have to go through this long process.
Right.
So we have some flexibility with how we go about this. So
Both in who you choose and how many are on the committee, because remember, we lost one.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Are
we
we gonna
can
hang
have
five?
we can have up to 7.
Yeah.
In theory, we can get all the way up to 7, which is what we originally had planned for. And then it just happened to work out that 5 worked with this original group was kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah.
So we got some flexibility. So we're working on that with the clerk's office and trying to figure out the best way forward to fill the seat. If you know of people interested though, and you have people that have expressed an interest, please have them get in touch with me, send me an
Okay.
email, just so I have them and, you know, we'll go from there.
See if it's serious.
Yeah?
Y'all are gonna be critical.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't.
I know.
All right. So, sorry, I hate starting the new thing.
Yeah, that's
Damper the
right.
mood.
Yeah, that's news.
Yeah.
She added
I know.
hate to lose her.
I know.
Yeah, different
So
opinion.
with that, in that we're 4, is quorum now 2? Or are we?
Quorum
is
is
3?
still 3 and we have a vacancy. So, yeah.
Just so we're all.
Yep,
clear
no,
about that.
absolutely. Yep. All right, you guys ready to
Old
dive in?
business,
Yeah.
yes.
Roundabout sculpture update. The concrete contractor has gone out and he has laid out the, basically molds where the footers are gonna go in. It is a local contractor. He is supposed to be out there literally any day now and start pouring the concrete. It's gonna have cinder block bases. Within the cinder block will be rebarred down 6 feet, I believe, into the dirt.
Perfect.
And then it is the cinder blocks, the rebar, that will be filled in with concrete, and then it will be built up around. And then when that's completed, Mr. Cortada plans to come up here in July and do the mosaic work and start getting that worked on. At the same time, we will be landscaping the entire space. So we're going to, once the concrete columns are there, we're then gonna go in with the foundation, which is gonna be a crushed shell. And it's gonna be that really pretty white, kind of coquina looking crushed shell. But there is this really unique polymer that allows it to still be permeable, but it makes it solid so it doesn't shift around, so it stays ADA compliant. So we're gonna do that. Once that groundwork is in, then Mr. Cortada will come up, do the tile work, and then while he does that, we'll finish landscaping the entire site. Actually, last night, and I just didn't even think about it to add to this, because we just got CRA Council on board with it last night. We showed them landscaping plans that Prestige Landscape had done. So before we leave for good, remind me, and I'll go pull up that agenda from last night, and I'll show you what that picture looks like that Council and CRA really liked. If I would have thought about it, I would have put it in here. So that's a very exciting update. And then our Sea Life in the City sculpture, I know it's kind of slow to get started. I have since gotten the contract signed, council approved it, everyone signed off. And Havoc Studios is currently working on 3 different design options for our first turtle. They're also going to help us with the site selection. We kind of provided them a couple of locations that we thought could work. And then based off of basically each different design, they're going to make a recommendation of what space would work best with that particular design. So they're going to give us kind of a couple of different options. And then we can tweak that from there. So that is moving. I anticipate, you know, hopefully by mid-July we'll have some designs and we can get them in here July or August, sit down with the committee, fine tune what we like, and then get that piece commissioned and get that moving. And get our turtle installed. I'm excited. Yeah. And that was all for old business I had. Unless anybody else has some old business to
Do we
tell.
know when, so when, I guess it's to be determined with Havoc, because we haven't picked exactly what they're doing. They're
Yeah.
still defining it out.
Yeah, yep. I do know they said they would prefer, the one thing we talked about, they would prefer it to be fiberglass or bronze. Those were the 2 mediums they preferred to work in out here.
That's
And
good.
what they said they've had the best luck with down at the sculpture garden, where the students have all their pieces, that those are the two best. And so I think they'll do some bronze options and some fiberglass options, because there's a big cost difference also associated there. And so that'll give us some flexibility.
I think it would be aluminum.
Yeah,
Wouldn't that even corrode here though,
Yeah, it
Trey?
definitely does.
I mean,
Wherever you attach to it,
that's,
stainless steel and
yeah.
aluminum starts to, not really.
that's the
rust.
problem down there at the sculpture garden.
Yeah.
I was there when they switched out, they do it annually, and the stuff they were taking down was, the
Oxidized.
bolts, like you're saying, are just like
Right,
corroded and,
So would the fiberglass be a better option?
probably, because it won't, the two metals won't interact.
and
As
they
long as
seem
it's
to like
thick
working
enough,
with fiberglass.
cause that can break too.
It can, but if it, like you said, if it's thick enough, and they use a lot of cloth and
Yeah,
reinforce it,
yeah.
you know.
They put the fiberglass over something
Yeah.
that's holding it all up.
So they did the giant giraffe when you enter the Jacksonville Zoo. They did that big giraffe sculpture, and that's some combination of fiberglass, but maybe something else on the inside, and it's coated, and so, and that, I mean, kids are hanging all over that thing all the time, people are
Yeah.
with it, and it's been there now for a couple of years, and they haven't had any issues.
I can
So-
look at that. Is
Yeah.
the Jacksonville Zoo?
Sure is.
Good.
When you enter the zoo, right to the right-hand side, there's a massive giraffe. They
There's
did
gotta
it.
be pictures of it.
Mhm.
How big,
It-
how tall do you think it is?
Oh, it's huge. It's like life size. It might
Have
be. Is theirs? I think if theirs is in here, I'm pretty sure I added them in this. If I didn't. Okay.
No, there it is.
Yep, that's it.
Yes, it is huge.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I've seen it in person several times. Actually, the last time I took my kids to the zoo, I didn't put two and two together until I read the little plaque on it and realized who did it, that we were working with them. So that was
Yeah,
really cool. But that has got some bronze and some fiberglass kind of mixed component to it. I'm not exactly sure of the technical terminology, but it works. So, yeah, they feel pretty comfortable.
well, his practical experience with sculpture at the beach is
Mhm.
like valuable. You
Right.
know, I mean, he's seen it firsthand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right, and then, this is all no metal.
Yeah, exactly.
That was what I thought was great about it. And the idea that, just think how long those tiles that got reused at Sunshine have
Since
lasted.
the 80s. So,
That's what I'm
Yeah.
expecting, yes.
Yeah.
and I guess even I was thinking about that too with Sunshine, the glaze that they even used on those tiles, whatever glaze he's using on these is some like crazy durable glaze. And, the ones down there was just whatever was basic and around in the 80s, and those still lasted 30 years.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty confident about this structure. I will say we did give the CRA and council had a joint meeting last night, and one of the topics we updated them on was this committee and just kind of what we've done so far, what our processes have looked like, and what we want to do moving forward. And it was very well received. Both groups are very happy with what they're seeing and what's happening, and they're really excited and really supportive of what we want to accomplish in fiscal year 25. So
Golf clap.
everybody's really pleased and on board with all of our crazy ideas we want to throw out there for next year.
Well, thanks to our crazy neighbors.
Yeah, emphasis on the crazy part.
Shit.
Yeah, so, yeah. Good stuff, all right. So with our new business, I know we talked a lot about having a local mural event. I sat down with our event coordinator at Parks and Rec, Allison. She has been absolutely phenomenal in programming new events, and she has really gotten a handle on our events and programming the spaces. And I told her, I said, I don't think we want to have local muralists painting the 3 public restrooms in August. I just think that's a recipe for disaster, and I'm not gonna come out in August, I'll be real honest. I'm not standing out there and watching that. So we were trying to look at weekends that were either free or had an event that really tied to what we want to do. And the first weekend in November, there's actually a scheduled arts event, an arts market in Latham Plaza. And so we're gonna kind of start, if you guys are comfortable, we wanna take it to CRA, talk with them, and start exploring the idea of having our 3 local muralists painting murals on those bathrooms Saturday and Sunday of that weekend of the arts market, and kind of tie, and it'll be kind of one big art event. Also, gonna backtrack a little,
What weekend is that? Excuse me.
it's the first weekend, I believe, of November. And it's flexible. I mean, do it later than that first weekend. I mean, I'm thinking October, early November, because once we start teeter-tottering into later November, we're starting to get into deck chairs territory, and I don't wanna get into that. I think that needs to still stay its own special event, but there are weekends in October and November that we can look at. So our plan is to talk with the CRA. Once I talk to the CRA, not this coming Monday, but the following, kind of get there, okay, we're good to move forward and having conversations. I will reach out to the arts market event producers and discuss it with them to see if they're comfortable, even though we're not doing anything to their, just to be out of courtesy for our event, because we want to let them know, hey, we would like to also kind of tag team and tack this on. We're not going to affect Lakeland Plaza at all, but we'll encourage people to kind of venture out of that area. And I think in November is a good time of year to do it because it's not going to be scorching hot, hopefully. So yeah, so that's kind of just want to give you guys a little update on that.
And who are the three?
That'll be for us to decide. We've not decided that yet. I think we'll honestly have to have a whole meeting just to figure that out. We've got a lot of local talent.
How many would we,
I think
potentially
three, yeah. 'Cause we've
One
got
each
three,
day?
well, one each restroom facility. So we've got 3 bathrooms in the downtown, and we would have the 3 artists. Basically, we would give them some parameters, you know, kind of like the guardrails on bowling, and kind of let them do their thing within those parameters. And then it's an opportunity for the public to come out and just see the process, see how these murals go, interact with the artists, and it's a chance for this committee to, you know, feature local artists and.
Cause that one by Casa Marina is bad, needs painting bad.
Mhm.
We probably should choose that sooner rather than later, so
Yes.
they have time to think about
Yep.
what they might do.
Okay.
Versus just saying, here, we'll award this mid-October and
Sure.
be ready here in 2 weeks. But maybe that's not time to think about it.
No, I mean, I think that's something on the July or August agenda we can pull together. Again, I can kind of tap back into our resources. I can even work with, we have Flashcode now. So I can work with our communications manager to put out a survey that says if you're a local artist, give us your info, tell us you're interested, and I can actually get a new pool of just local artists. We can, you know, blast that on all of our social medias, use QR codes and get that out. Kind of, we can have that out for maybe the next 4 weeks or so, and then kind of create a new database of just local, and then bring this back to you guys, and you guys get the fun job of having to narrow that down. So if you guys are comfortable, then I can go that route and work with communications and just put out a new
Yeah.
kind of FYI, this is what we want to do, and send us your stuff, and we'll go from there.
And do we have a budget for those?
We don't. Again, fortunately, we still do have a relatively healthy budget for this fiscal year, and as long as I can encumber those funds before October 1, we're good. From what my very inexperienced and what I've seen is usually 8 to 10,000, and that.
They're doing the whole building.
Yeah, if they're doing the whole building, that's typically what's been standard. You know, if we put something out, we hear from artists and they're like, oh my gosh, that's just way too low, you know. There is flexibility, but I think that would be the comfort zone.
Alright, there's gotta be some kind of square footage.
There is, I use the same formula I use when we calculate the budgets for the other 2 buildings. If we're gonna wrap the building, which I think we should, that 8 to 10 range seems to make the most sense.
Yeah, but I just wanted to make
Yeah.
sure so we're all clear on what we're asking people to do
Yep.
and for how much.
Yep. Yep. So, all right, I will put together survey. I'll send that out to you guys before we put it out, just so you'll know what it looks like. I'll give you guys a couple of days to just get back to me via email. If we miss something, need to add changes, and then we'll get that out and get this moving. All right, this is gonna be the bulk of our discussion today. So our pier entryway. The sculpture, design, entryway piece, whatever we wanna call it, I mean, I think truly until we decide what it is, it may be a sculpture, it may be an entry piece, it may be a combo of both. This is something that's gonna basically act as a visual gateway to the pier. In the plans for this back from several years ago, before we were ever even here, it was always intended to reflect the character and energy of the area surrounding it, taking in inspiration from water, dunes, and the beach life culture. This will be integrated into the pier entry, and it's gonna be located on the boardwalk. And so a couple things there to keep in mind is, you know, yes, we want it to be large, we want it to be, you know, to scale where it's visible from a good distance. Lighting is gonna be difficult because we really can't additionally because of the sea turtles. And we also cannot impede on where emergency vehicles would need to get through. So whatever designs we would want to do.
Do they do night fishing on the pier yet?
Yeah,
So,
What kind of lighting do they use for that?
not much.
Well, okay.
They're doing the silent disco out there too.
yeah.
Yeah,
So it's interesting because lighting and illuminated are
Yeah.
not the same,
Right.
exactly.
according to DEP.
We can't illuminate.
We
Light
can
is-
illuminate, we can make things glow,
Yeah.
things can be illuminated from within, they cannot have lights.
Right, right,
So
right.
some of these are.
That would be
illuminated.
acceptable, yes,
Right.
that's
Right,
actually
that's what I'm thinking.
one of the reasons I put this guy, this would be acceptable
Right.
in
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm going to,
And the sign is lit,
Yeah.
there's faces, those three.
come on. Oh, I thought I was gonna click through this. There we go. So these came from, excuse me, these are all, folks who had previously submitted for our sculpture calls. Now, full disclosure, if we get through this and we're just kind of still very, we can absolutely put out, an additional call, we can, kind of regroup, but we just thought we would start here since we do have such an extensive database of artists. So this gentleman is Peter Hazel Art. He had submitted again previously. Some of the pros that we kind of took away from this, he was obviously very familiar with working at the beach, on the beach, near the water, near the dunes. He has done several of these in Florida, meaning he knows our sea turtle rules. And obviously, based on these, he knows how to get
Where's he
around. He's from South Florida, Southwest Florida, I don't remember exactly where off the top of my head. But again, he's obviously kind of figured out the hack of having things visible without having them traditionally lit. This is MGA Sculpture Studio. He was one of our finalists with the mural. He was the one that had the big seashell. That one. Yeah, so,
That was bad.
He was a businessman.
yeah, he does
Oh, no.
have some interesting pieces. This
I'll give
was
you that.
a new piece he was getting ready to do. This is a newer one that we had not seen before. This was actually really interesting because it makes giant fish, but it's all little fish. This is meant to be a ball splashing into some water. He's got some, again, unique pieces, so I threw his work in there.
Now, the one on the upper left and the one on the right, those are not actual sculptures that he's done.
This is a rendering, this is done, this is real.
That's a rendering or is
No,
that?
this is rendering, this is his work.
That is
Yep.
a piece.
Yep,
Because that's pretty impressive, I mean, and it's just a scale,
it's huge.
you know,
Yeah.
that was
Huh?
one reason I
Miami.
did lean towards
Do you know
people
what
that
that
could
is?
achieve
I'm
that
almost-
scale.
Again, this is coming from memory, so I believe this is in Miami, like this is somewhere in South Florida. I don't remember exactly where.
But if he's the novelist guy,
He
then
is.
he's gonna want, he was the one that wanted money up front and.
For design purposes and stuff.
Isn't that the conversation we had?
It was, but to that point, Havoc Studios basically did the same thing to us with the Sea Turtle. They required that 2,500. It was far less because it's a
Right.
smaller project.
Right.
But something as we kind of continue to build this program, we're learning that maybe is an industry standard some of the time.
Gotcha.
So, if there's gonna be a reason to count him out, I wouldn't let it be the design fee, maybe other things, but that's kind of becoming normal. This was unique. This person also submitted previously. They had added a few new things to their portfolio. They typically work in wood, bronze, and different metals. Again, just some unique pieces. I really tried to feature the ones though that were maybe not always the style we would necessarily want to see, but we're very familiar with sea life and sea creatures and beach elements. Some of the really ultra modern, really simple structures, I don't think that that's necessarily what council and CRA want to see. I think they do want to see something a little more fun and beachy over there. So I tried to incorporate artists that did this. All right, so this one was submitted because this piece was what they submitted for the
Yeah, I
roundabout.
remember that.
And I distinctly remember having conversations that, no, we don't like that for the roundabout, but this may be great elsewhere, so, yeah. And they also have a really unique style of work.
commercial with the logo, but not
Yeah,
too art, not art.
yeah. And my takeaway from this guy when he submitted, because he was not local, but I like that he had obviously done his homework because he had the pier and he had the old Ferris wheel and, elements that were actually truly here. He, even if this wasn't something that we had gone with or we're gonna go with, it was
Right.
obvious this person really put a lot of thought into just creating this design. I think that goes a long way. And our logo, and all those colors are our brand standards manual, so he even went
Yeah.
and pulled our entire brand standards package
Yeah.
and,
I like how he did scaling with
Yeah.
the work because, the last one with the octopus and the shark, I was
Yeah.
a little bit.
yeah,
I mean, I know we've seen those before, but it's been
Right.
so long.
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, that can be a lighting issue, because it has to have some shine.
Yeah.
It does,
Or
but
maybe behind it or something.
this you can kind of get away with. These
Going
little
from, from below.
Yeah, the uplights. that
yeah,
shine
you can
kinda on
typically
it.
get away with those.
Yeah.
Because these don't mimic, the moon.
Right. That's cool.
I've learned way more about turtles and lights than I ever thought I would. This person had also, again, submitted previously, their style is very interesting, very different. This person, I remembered because of the octopus that had different shoes on all 8 tentacles. The reason we felt to kind of include them is because if we wanted to go with any type of animal or sea life or kind of more of that fun, I don't want to say cartoon, but for lack of better words, that kind of more eclectic
Whimsical.
Thank you, that's a much better way to say cartoon.
Yeah.
They have a lot of experience with very unique creatures. They're obviously are very good at doing detailed animals. I just thought this would be something to kind of throw in the mix to consider.
I remember there was one that had like a bicycle guy that was real crazy looking or something, but.
And we got the fish head.
Yeah,
And you have a fish for a head.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a cool one.
So I can see a bicycle
Yeah.
with it,
Yeah.
and that was the same thing. the
Yeah, so-
dolphin.
and this was the one that was actually submitted for the roundabout. This guy is in Jacksonville, so he's actually also local. He did the sculpture in front of Florida Blue, and these are at JU. So he's done a lot of work even around Jacksonville, and he was the one that submitted these dolphins. And this was one that,
What does it say, goofy there? Or golf, does it say?
which one, sorry?
In the center there, oh, I guess it's just some letter.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what's interesting about this guy is, number one, I mean, he does, he clearly knows what he's doing. He's got the dolphins, that
Yeah,
he's
those are really
he's got, he can do large sculptures, and he's got the kind of colorful one on the right, but he also has the letters, which we were talking about.
Yeah.
I love Jack's Beach, so he obviously
Yep.
worked with
He's done.
letters, and he would definitely be a candidate for that if we were gonna move forward with that.
Yeah.
Trade for these together,
Yeah.
just kind of a low thing, Jack's Beach, I love Jack's Beach, whatever. But he would definitely be that person, and he's local.
Yeah.
And then he clearly could do some things that are of size,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, because this is
two checks
massive.
with him, actually, because he got both the I Love Jack's Beach and possibly the entrance
Mhm.
to the pier.
Okay. Yeah. I think too, he's got,
I didn't know he was local though.
yeah, Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And I think it's unique, he obviously, I can tell, and I went to his website, which is full portfolio. He's really comfortable with metals, but he can also, I've seen a lot now, he's been doing like colorful pieces lately. So if we want a colorful element, his portfolio is now starting to show that he's working more in colorful as well, not just mixed metals. These are relatively local as well, and this is at Florida State College, Jacksonville. They did this piece. This was submitted for the roundabout. This was that big wave and the surf and the whole photo op thing. They had submitted that previously. Again, they just had a really vast profile. They had done their homework. I felt like really kind of encompassed what beach life is, whether we went with that literal one or not. They just had a really good, strong portfolio that I think we could work with. This is Habit Studios, who we are working with currently. They are local. They do the UNF Sculpture Garden. They have done work. This is in Kentucky. This is at the zoo. This is in someone's home in Ponte Vedra. And they've got, again, a very vast portfolio and are capable of a lot of different styles. obviously way oversized. I mean, you can literally like walk under this thing, but it's also so realistic at the same time. I just thought they had a really unique design. And depending on what direction we wanted to go, they had some really, really strong work. I also included the shark because I love sharks. That was just a selfish plug for me. And this was really,
They've been very popular the last couple of weeks.
I am not looking
Right.
forward to my
Staying
beach
out
trip
of the
in
water.
2 weeks. All right, I'm spending a week at the beach in 2 weeks. I'm like, ooh.
Where?
I just Fernandina, not Gulf.
Fernandina.
Yeah,
This patch were over the west coast.
Yeah, Gulf.
Walton County.
yeah. And this one, I did not include their design because this was the one they had drawn the sand bucket with the shovel and the sand, and it was hand drawn. We really liked it, but again, we just didn't feel like it was great for that site, and because it wasn't maybe as
Presented.
thank you, as some of these others,
Yeah.
but this was the one when we said, okay, the drawing is, you know, it's cool, it's fine, but then their portfolio was so strong. I think they might be a good candidate to have discussions with as well, just because they obviously have the ability to do these larger than life pieces. So,
Do we know where we're gonna put it?
so that leads us to our next. This isn't working.
This old book shows something different.
Yes, so I think the best course of action would be to put it somewhere on the sand dune side. I don't think we want to split, like,
It needs to be on the outside.
yeah, it needs to be on that farther edge, flanking one side of the pier.
Can it cross over?
Well, that came up last night. A council person really kind of wanted to see some type of an archway entry potentially, and again, as long as we're not going to violate statutes related to turtles or block emergency vehicles from getting anywhere, I don't see why it couldn't.
So, do we need to allow for a van or something to drive onto the pier? Is that what we mean by allow entrance? Not just on the boardwalk?
Yeah, 'cause emergency
Going
vehicles
north,
on the
south,
pier.
Yeah.
but going
Yeah.
east out onto
It's
the
gonna have a
pier?
certain height clearance.
You know what that is?
Out there. cut
Not off the
finger
top of my
off.
head, is it 14 or 15 feet?
14 feet on wire, so
I was gonna put our officer on the spot, but I won't do that.
14 feet is what you have to have for crossing the street.
Yeah,
There's a width and a height for emergency vehicles, I'm gonna say it's 14 or 15 feet, but we'll find that out, so if you guys do decide to go with some kind of archway or consider that, we can have those parameters ready to let artists know. If it's a standalone single sculpture, then it doesn't matter, well, 35 feet, I guess,
yeah, can't go over that.
which is really tall.
That's very
Sculpture.
tall, right.
I don't think we want it to be that big.
Oh.
No, we're just looking at something like that, crab or what have you, you know.
Yeah,
Could you have something
Yeah.
that is
you could?
Giant.
giant, that you
Would
could
be
drive
giant.
through, I don't know.
Possibly.
That would be.
You know, dolphins on both sides like Marine Land or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm
Right.
just saying, for example.
That's not far off. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
That'd be impressive.
that's why when that guy, person that should have the two big dolphins on it.
Yep.
You know, that's, if you're thinking along those lines,
But the same thing like that, you're saying on one side, something like the surfboard shade, like,
Mhm.
it could work if it didn't go across.
Yeah, so I think if we're gonna do an archway or something that goes across, there will be obviously a lot more engineering involved. So we'll have to make sure it's able to bear that load and not come in on itself. We'll have to make sure we have the height. Not saying it can't be done, it can be. But if we do something either to one side or to your point, both sides and have, things flanking it. So I think those are kind of the three options we can look at. Single side, flanking, or completely connected in an archway. And I think, budget will play into that. We do have a healthy budget, but I think if we
Yeah,
start.
I'm just
Yeah,
asking
no, I
questions
know, for
for
sure.
the parameters.
Yeah, for
What-
sure.
what
I
are we-
mean,
What are we thinking about?
I think any of those three are an option. I think really what it would come down to would be the reality of the safety of something, and then again, just the budget, because we do have a large budget, but obviously,
well, I mean, would it be too kitsch to just think about, the dolphin, a dolphin on either side, a giant dolphin, like you said, then you don't have the arch, and I'm not opposed to an arch at all, but then you don't have to worry about the arch and vehicles, the height of vehicles or anything like that, but you just have two massive, I'm gonna say dolphins, because he's got dolphins here that he's obviously done that with, on either side.
Almost forming an arch.
Yeah.
Forming an arch, yeah, but open, so we don't have
Open.
that, we don't have to worry about loads, we don't have to worry about vehicle heights or anything. You have these two massive,
Yeah.
mammals, which we see dolphins out here all the time.
Sure.
And I mean, you know, you can't get enough turtles and dolphins.
I do too. So I
I mean,
think,
it's just a thought.
I think a good direction, kind of on that note, would be then, do we want it to be something that is more Jack's Beach adjacent, abstract, if you will, where it's just an animal, or it's a dolphin, or it's a beach theme, or do we want to go the direction of something that literally says Jack's Beach or welcome, Jack's Beach Pier? Do we want to go that literal direction or more of the abstract direction?
Right, it's like commercial
Yeah.
or art.
I think that would be a really good
And
starting
in
point.
the art category, like Taylor said, there could be an abstract version and a realistic version of an actual
Well, we
animal.
have the commercial welcome to Jack's Beach in various places, correct?
There's already a sign in front of the
Signs
pier.
aren't working right now, but.
No, but that parking lot that we're talking about, that is across the street from Oku, does have that Jack's Beach
And it
sign.
is,
Yeah.
it is.
Does the pier have a sign that says, welcome to Jack's Beach Pier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well,
I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
It's already
we
there.
want to
then
be
I think
redundant
that-
as far as that goes.
I think it sounds like then everyone's kind of in agreement that maybe we don't need to go the literal, we go more artistic.
Right.
Let's make a statement.
All right.
Let's make it- I mean,
That's who we are.
Objective one, got it.
Because we have a sign there, yeah.
And that's staying, right, that's not going to.
Yeah, we need to
Yeah.
refurbish it.
The wow factor.
The wow, we need the wow factor, we need big or go home.
Yeah.
Don
Yeah, so how
does.
about a giant sand pail?
Yeah.
Not even gonna
Giant-
lie.
I like that, I think I like that, it's just.
Because that guy's probably 6 feet tall, so that's, we're talking 18, 20 feet?
Mhm.
Right.
Or
Think that like, shovel handle sticking up,
Right.
and on the other side, maybe a little rag where kids. That's
Well,
why I
that's
did
so big,
a
smaller. Can
sandcastle.
you imagine?
That's not
See
out of,
space.
that's not.
Sandcastle on one side, one fish.
serious.
You mean like a.
I like a sandcastle.
A sand bucket with a big shovel and a.
Sand
Fishing
flowing out
poles
of it.
sticking out.
This artist in particular submitted a hand drawing of that, but
On one side, we have the sandcastle stuff, the kid's bucket, and the tools. On the other side, we have the fishing bucket with poles sticking out,
that's really funny.
and a fish on the end or something, So it doesn't say.
Well, that brings up
Jackson.
actually a next good objective. So our first objective is, okay, we're gonna keep it artistic, not go more commercial route. But then do we wanna play this up to beachgoers or fishermen? Because those are two, they overlap, but they are still two distinct groups and,
We have surfboards on the sign, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking none of, surfboards are there already.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
And
that,
with our first few pieces, we've had a lot of turtles and a lot of sea life with Ernesto's,
Mhm.
thing on the band shell, right?
Yeah.
And so something more real,
Yeah,
not.
people oriented.
Yeah,
Yeah,
could be,
I mean, that's
could be a
who,
good,
that's what the pier's
you're
all
right,
about. Pier
every
is-
one of these columns has
It's
an
all
animal
about
on it.
people.
And this sea life in the city is gonna be all animals
Right.
when it's completed,
right, and then
so
we have the,
we'll get you a crab.
what are the stingrays?
We
which
did
is
that
another
on
one.
the Cape building.
We have Slavic doing a big turtle, we have, Ernesto, we have the sea life.
We have a lot of animals.
Yeah, I think we're brainstorming in the right direction,
So would we go, so are would we rule out the two dolphins in favor of the sand bucket and the?
That's
No,
so
no,
fun.
but they're two different directions.
Yeah.
One is clearly more art, realistic, and then the other one is a bit more whimsical.
And I think keeping in mind something that the council and CRA had brought up several times is they love this idea of our pieces being a staple, a signature, a photo op, where people may be dining at Jekyll right here and they go, oh, you remember we saw that picture of whatever it is, we gotta go down there. And so something that they're not just gonna happen on by chance, it's something that really draws you
destination.
in and they want to go see it, they
Yeah.
wanna go take a picture with it. That's something that they've really been pushing us on, is trying to have a piece like that somewhere. They actually really wanna see that in Lakeland Plaza, but, this may be an opportunity to incorporate that too. I don't think you can ever have too many fun, pieces.
Fun. I think that's a good direction because most of our pieces should have that sort of philosophy in mind, drawing people
I mean,
for
we still have
photos or
people
just hanging
taking
out.
photos in front of the very first mural we did, the cave
Mhm.
mural. People are down there taking photos with that turtle
Mhm.
all the time. I was just out and saw somebody
We're
doing
always
it.
out there, and
Mhm.
once we have enough, we've got, somewhat of an art trail that people
Yep.
can follow on the map that,
Yep.
Taylor's working on with our communications manager to, go from work of
Very
art to
cool.
work of art and see them all and
Very
take
cool.
pictures and.
And then we're gonna put QR codes at each of the pieces that when you're there, scan me, and then it pops up to this interactive map where you can hover over the link and it shows you the piece and who did it and the story behind it. It kind of tells you where to go.
I'm sure Xavier is working on that for this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he has a very, very large campaign with all of his pieces. He does a huge, just everything.
Or are we still thinking about, in that same vicinity, the Love Jack's Beach, which would be a photo op?
That may be good for
Definitely.
Lakeland. I think that's for Lakeland Plaza.
That's related.
I mean,
think that.
Yeah, yeah.
my one person opinion, I think that could really work in the plaza though, because our CRA chairman has said, he said it last night, it was on the news. He wants something that people wanna come see and take a picture with and hashtag Jack's Beach, and literally said that word exactly for the plaza.
Perfect.
Um,
Well, then, let's just leave that for Plaza.
I think that could work.
Lakeland Plaza.
Some variation of
Perfect.
that, I think it would be great.
That's exciting.
So I like that, but just one thought that you might explore, do we have any copyright infraction with Robert Indiana for the original Love sculpture? Do we have to be cognizant of
That sounds like a great thing for Jake to do research.
just asking
We'll
the
have
question?
to-
We wouldn't wanna go down the road, spend a lot of money and then
Yep.
have them say, you can't do that, cause
I
that's my
think that's
design.
an excellent question that needs to be answered legally in the legal department.
Yep.
But I think if you alter it enough,
No, I get it, but you just.
all you have to
We need
do
to
is
check
tweak
that
it,
box.
alter it, then, but he's exactly right, you need to check that box, but,
Yep.
if they use if they use it in South Beach, the SOBE, I guess the question
I
is, we
just
can
want, I
use
just
Jack's
want, I
Beach
just want,
without a
I want
problem.
us to check the box.
But we,
Yeah.
Jack's Beach, but when we use the love, Jack's
And we do
Beach,
the A, our logo.
then,
Mhm.
then,
Chair.
then it's a gray area.
want it to be for me.
But I like the idea of love Jack's Beach
Yeah.
instead of just Jack's Beach.
Yeah,
So that's why,
and we can make that A, match our logo,
Yeah.
our A chair. Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think.
I'm not against the idea, I just.
yeah,
I-
that's a very good point.
We will get legal, and then our communications team, they're the ones who have handled, we had some actual copyright issues with our logo being reproduced, because we have the rights to that logo, so that, they will be a great asset to go start researching and making sure we don't violate anything before we dive too deep down that route. Or if we are gonna violate something, how do we have to differentiate enough to where we don't get ourselves in
How
trouble?
do we-
Yeah,
correct.
I'll do some homework and I'll get some answers on that.
Right.
Yeah.
So are we sort of like leaning in the pier on,
Rubber
leaning towards
Rubber
pier people?
Chocolate's a giant pair of sandals.
Rubber boots and a fishing
Rubber boots
pole.
on one side, flip flops on the other.
That's actually a cool idea.
Pier people, huge, yeah, that's,
See, I'm the one that hears that too. I'm like,
With like a bait bucket
I
hanging on.
don't hate
I
that.
like that, I like that.
And then Margaritaville's got the.
If it's
big
monumental,
Oh, yeah.
Inside,
I forgot about that.
They have an oversized football.
if it's monumental in size, then it's going to be just impressive. I mean,
Really
plus
bad.
it is really well
They call
done.
those white rubber boots like Mayport, whatever, some kind of shoe, like that's the Mayport, footwear,
Yeah,
white rubber boots.
yeah,
We're not Mayport anymore.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a fishing village, that's a fishing village thing.
Well, we've got two different one, the dolphins, it was an easy call, two big dolphins on either side, arched over, just like in the picture, basically, or, a bucket, a sand bucket, and on one side, and something
to the pier,
Fishing poles.
you know?
She's pole with a fish.
I mean,
An arch fishing pole with a fish on the inside.
umbrellas, beach chairs, sand buckets, fishing pole, whatever, there's
Right.
a ton of stuff that you could.
And when you Google giant sand bucket statues, sculpture, different things, they don't exist. Like, I looked this up, it's not, I just pulled it up on my phone again, I mean, it's just, it's literal sand, but there's not,
So you would just have, you would have a big sand bucket, like a plastic colorful sand bucket with a shovel, with a plastic shovel.
And sand in it, you know, I mean,
Or sand.
not even overflowing the sand.
Run with it, you know, kind of.
Right, give them the idea.
Give them the idea, okay, here,
yeah.
think about this, and what would you do if you were doing a 20-foot tall sand bucket?
And would the bucket be turned over so there's sand coming out of it?
Well,
The shovel's
could
up
be,
in it?
could be, I mean, that's,
It doesn't have to be up like
No,
that. It can be
no.
up with sand and a
tilted,
shovel.
the shovel, I mean, just like you would see
Yeah,
on the beach.
then what would be on the other side?
Well,
What's your
I mean,
compliment?
You can only afford one.
I liked your idea about something with the fishing theme, the rods and reels maybe, I don't know how
Or it could just be
that would
fish.
stack up with the durability of fishing poles and such.
Right.
Or it could be a giant lawn chair.
Each umbrella that's
I
closed.
do,
or-
they have
Closed
talked about
umbrella,
that giant
lawn chair, could be
chair.
anything.
a lot.
We don't want something people can climb on.
They're going to anyway.
I know, they climb all over these people out here
Right.
every day.
Well, there's definitely certainly gonna climb on a bucket that has
Just
sand
gotta
spilling
be
out
careful,
of
so
it.
you can't get really, really high and then.
Yeah,
fall
yeah.
down.
They're gonna get high, all right. They can climb
That
up
is
there.
their fault, but.
Um,
Not encouraged.
They may not climb, but they will be high.
And, you know, Heather was just mentioning, and this has not been a explicit direction given to us, but I will say, it seems to be that at least several people in council have expressed interest in your first point of having arch,
Right.
so.
And I feel like that's how the concept was sold to them years ago, really early on. It's kind of just stuck in their head that that's.
It's
what-
been done,
That's what they've
I mean, it's been
envisioned.
done, that's right, we've all seen it,
Panama City Beach and.
we've all seen it.
Yeah,
And
I
it's in
think that's
your,
what they have in mind
it's in your
for
vision.
entryway.
Yeah.
Like they're taking it literally. That's kind of my take on it, but like she said.
Oh,
We
yeah.
don't need something that says fishing pier, it's obvious what it is.
Well, if we're thinking about, okay, what do people do on the pier, right? People surf under it, but what do people do on the pier? And that's, they fish. So what about having, you know, a giant, you know, instead of the metal gear that people drive into the sand to hold the fishing pole, instead of it being this big, it's this big, and the pole is 30 feet tall.
Poles
and
can
has-
cross,
And has some,
they could actually
you know,
cross
kind
it.
of the literal
Yeah.
fishing line out the other side.
Yeah, the other side could have the fish, and then this side
Right.
could have the pole.
And you don't even necessarily need to have a string from one to the
No.
other, but the idea that you have
So you have
the
a
The pole could be
Or-
bent,
Or, yeah, it's
bent.
rowed up,
That could be.
Well,
one.
like
not
a-
exactly connected.
So the pole's
I
there,
think
is that you get the, visually, you get what's going on.
would you have a fish on the other end jumping or something that's like,
Something.
like it's on a reel or
That could
something,
be really
like
cool.
a
I don't love that,
jumping?
yeah.
Because then that kind of does, you know, it's not like
And then a fish on the
you're
side.
really having
Big
to
fish.
engineer something, you know,
Yeah,
it
because
could
it's
be
not
quite
literally
thin.
touching, it's one's affixed to one side and then this is over here, so we're still leaving room for vehicles to go under, but it's giving that illusion.
And give
the
you
thing with the
Arc.
fishing pole, it's minuscule in size, even,
Yeah.
and even if it was blown up sculpturally, it's just still, it would be we need more, maybe like 2 or 3 fishing poles, you know, each one of them like having a bent at different angles, but I don't know, it
So
would be,
would you layer them, so you have 1, 2, 3, or something like that?
I don't know if I have it
Something
going
more than
over
just-
like this, I think it'd be more at kind of a 70, 80 degree level.
Yeah, I mean, I would.
Right.
something more than just
Yeah.
one fishing pole, because I think that would get lost in the background. It would
They
be,
all fish with more than one pole out.
that's right.
They have one pole that has the anchor on it, and then they tag their bait onto the other one and let it run down.
Mhm.
pole that the bait goes out on. And they also have in the, you know, they have the nets that they pull up from the water that are sitting.
And they all have those little carts they pull. They're little surf carts.
Y'all carry your guns out there. Cause you're allowed to carry a gun in the fish.
Yeah, so we have AR-15.
Oh,
no.
Fishing pole on one side, AR-15 on the other.
No.
That took a dark turn fast.
It's legal.
What about something, with like a historical context, instead of sea life or like literal, you know, buckets and fishing poles, like something that
We
would.
do an old archway of the old roller coaster.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a
Over.
lot of things that used to be on the boardwalk, there's a lot of history here, maybe something along those lines to think about as a subject matter.
A roller coaster track with there's a bunch of guys like hanging
Hanging
out.
upside down.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, the lady fell out of that roller.
Yeah.
Boy,
Back in the day, when the Wild House, she fell out, that's when they tore it down.
Is that right?
Well, one of the, my understanding, you know.
I've never heard that.
The Wild
Yeah,
Mouse.
so my understanding, and then part of it was destroyed with the
But
hurricane.
that's why I thought it came down.
Yeah,
It-
but I think, if I
Or a fire.
somebody fell, a lady fell out of the Wild Mouse. It was called the Wild Mouse. And it was a wood roller coaster.
Yeah.
That was here.
Seen lots of pictures of it.
And that may have just been urban legend that somebody fell out, but urban legend
Yeah.
was that somebody fell out.
Before
I feel like we
John
need a trip to the museum.
I was gonna
to
say,
talk
we
to
can
Chris
do-
about just some ideas
Which-
to give you guys some mull over.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, no pressure, we did not expect to come here today and say, okay,
Yeah.
tell us our parameters and we're gonna call
Yeah.
someone tomorrow. You know, we
Yeah.
really wanted to do this where we start with an idea and it kind of rolls and changes and bounces and then,
I think we've done that. We've covered some
Yeah.
territory.
and we'll be able to take this
We're
and
not done
then.
yet.
No. And have conversations, you know, like I said, we have a CRA meeting in a week and a half. We can kind of sit down with them and say, hey, we're throwing around these ideas. What are your thoughts? At a council briefing, we can do the same. We can go visit the mayor over at the museum and maybe even while we're in the museum, taking the context we received here today, something kind of sparks our imagination and then kind of bring that back.
Do we need to meet more than once a month for this one? I mean,
It may come to
I don't
that.
mind if we need to.
You know, one thing I will say with the CRA is there are some months where we don't meet because we don't have anything, and then there are some months we have 3 meetings. It just depends on where we're at. So if this becomes something that, you know, CRA and council start to get really excited about, and we start getting a really heavy push, it may have to be, you know, we do have 1 or 2, you know.
We need to feel out how set a couple of council members are on the arch.
I think that would honestly be a good
I
starting
think it
point.
would be, yeah,
I
or
think we need to,
good discussion to see where they all
explore that.
stand.
Yeah.
because if it's 1,
Because that just does
okay, so
change
whatever.
things.
Yeah.
It might, but I would encourage all of you to literally go stand at the west end of Fourth Avenue North by the light and look down the street.
'Cause it's a
straight
straight
shot
corridor.
to the pier. So I think because of that, as soon as you turn down that road, I'm going to pier, it needs to be visible.
And we
You know what I
want
mean?
something
I
that
would
from
think
Third
that we
Street-
would want it to
Yeah.
stand out when you turn that corner and go, there's the pier.
It
Yep.
needs to be big.
It needs to be a grand
it needs to
statement,
be
I think.
Impressive.
I think it needs to be easily seen from
Yeah.
30th
It needs to
Street.
be-
Also not space.
If we're thinking big, we need to think bigger.
That's kind of where I'm saying that I agree with you about the fishing pole. I think it's a really cool idea, but visually, are you gonna see
Yeah.
it
It would get
from
lost.
far away
Correct.
It's a
or
great
not
idea,
till you
but
get
it
right
would
up
get
close?
lost.
Because the hard part with this too is where,
Could be a good
like
idea somewhere
Xavier's
else.
sculpture is eventually gonna sit, I mean, granted, it's gonna be, it's bright and pretty, but it's gonna eventually literally have a building pretty much behind it. So it's very easy to see a sculpture when it's up against a, you know, concrete wall, whereas this is gonna have the horizon behind it.
Yeah.
So this
Unique
is,
backdrop.
This needs to be,
So you know, when I think of this arch,
yeah, that we can't light
I
either.
automatically see the end of Beach Boulevard at the lifeguard station and the crossover. Is that not still there where people can walk across the?
Mm-mm.
no.
No, that's been gone since the
Let's do something like that,
It's been gone for a while.
where they can like
They used to use.
walk and then maybe hang up there over the pier, a crossover.
Like an observation walk, right?
I don't know that our liability insurance would let us.
Yeah.
I like it, I
I
just,
like that
done in an artistic manner that would, of course, decorate the walkover in an artistic
That
manner,
was
but
a massive walkover. You mean, you're talking about the ones that go across, right?
Yeah.
That walkover. They used to have the,
yeah,
sunrise service every Easter.
Yeah.
like that. And
that's what I
when the sun
envision
came
when
up,
I'm,
they would
when
have-
I'm seeing,
Yeah, it would be a.
you know, not the golden arches of McDonald. I'm seeing like something
Hey, don't
that
hate on McDonald's.
people could like
Oh,
interactively like
Yeah.
walk up stairs, walk over.
I think
Okay.
they,
Walking out on the pier.
I think the fire
that's-
marshal would just
That's what they're.
say, big giant no.
I think the city manager would go absolutely not, you know what that's gonna do to our liability insurance.
Right, but I also
Crazy, isn't it?
We're saying that as long as it's on fire.
would have us all remember, you know, the sculpture called the Vessel that's at Hudson Yards in New York. You know, that's a great
Oh,
big
yeah.
bowl that people, kind of like a maze walking up,
Mhm.
and then a bunch of people decided to jump off of it to commit suicide,
They
right?
should have
Yeah,
done
we
that.
certainly
They should have
don't
done
want
that.
We don't want that.
What's wrong with people, man?
They have to
What's
do it for
wrong with-
everyone.
What's wrong with people?
Now, the thing about the arch is almost automatically needs to have lettering on it. I'm not,
Yeah.
you have to try to do something besides a sign.
Right.
Then you're talking about.
Because we already have the sign.
Then you're back to the golden
We have a
arches.
sign already.
The golden arches, they work, no matter how, what
Oh.
do you think? The golden arches work, and then you walk to Jack's Beach or something and you're done.
So, I mean, I think we've got, I feel anyway, that there's kind of three pretty distinct directions we could go. We could keep that really fun, whimsical, artistic with sandcastles, sand buckets, beach ball, you know, that kind of look. We always have the option to do, you know, something historical, whether it be on one side or sometimes an arch that incorporates some of our history. I do think there would be support for that, I feel anyway. Or we go keep the whimsical, but also try and find a way to incorporate that into an archway across as well.
Was there, would there be anything, would it be possible to do the partial arch, not, you know, because you don't have to necessarily
Yeah.
connect them. So you do the arch, and it's flat, but it has a bunch of reliefs and things like, fishermen on it, and it has a little bit of history, it has surfers, it has all these different things that are about the beach. Beach buckets and things like
Like a
that.
totem on each side
So-
almost.
Yeah, yeah,
Like-
it's not, yeah, it's
One
not.
on both sides. That's actually.
Yeah, so you do,
Good
so you,
idea.
you accomplish your arch, but on the arch, you incorporate images from the beach,
Ruby
You
Beach.
incorporate
Instead of
fishermen.
lettering.
Instead of
Instead of
lettering.
Okay.
Instead-
lettering.
Yeah. you
Instead of putting on
incorporate-
there Jackson
so-
goes here.
Images.
Not Jack
Images.
Beach, Jackson goes here.
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
our pier.
And then that way you kind of, you know, if you.
Go back up there on the one that had the jacks at the top, the little surfboard shaped one, not that one. See, that one has historic,
Yeah.
surfer.
Yeah, that's what, that's
It's
kind of
done,
what I
the Ferris
mean.
wheel, the old
That's
piers,
exactly what I
everything.
mean, but if you took that and arched it and just changed the shape slightly, but incorporated all that on it, on either side.
Do you
fishing-
have room for the old roller coaster and
Yep,
the thing that used to be out here, what was that called?
Flag pavilion.
That one. You have that opportunity to incorporate.
so you,
Crab pot.
so it's a thought, I mean, in fact, you could use the wave thought too, I mean, you could use that splash,
Mhm.
you could still use that
Yeah,
on
have
each
that
side
space.
and just turn it more
Waves.
into,
Mhm.
more into an art, like, and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to go all the way over, it could just go,
Yeah.
you know, art or so, like a surfboard.
Mhm.
So you can have like the nose of the surfboard, a splash, and then have all the stuff on there, and you have fishermen and stuff like that, and then it comes the other way. And they don't even have to necessarily meet, one could be higher than the other, they don't have to be symmetrical.
That's what I'm saying. it has these
So
different
anyway,
elements
I mean,
that-
it's a thought of how to get fishing, surfing, the pier, the
So,
lifeguards,
Tim,
and.
the idea to sort of get some criteria and then give these guys a chance to throw something back at us.
So, kind of, I think today one of the main things for us was to at least just get a foundation so that we can take this kind of foundation of, okay, we've thrown around A, B, and C. these are sort of our ideas, and kind of take that back to members of council, the mayor, administration, members of CRA, and kind of gauge their thoughts, and then that kind of gives us more of a direction, so then we can kind of come back here and say, okay, they said absolutely not to this doesn't work, but
Right.
this, we're open to exploring, and then at that stage, once we know what they really are comfortable exploring, again, we don't
So-
have to even issue a call, we can
Not
just
to get
refer
off
these.
topic, but
Right.
they didn't do that for the roundabout. They weren't that involved. Or is it that they're becoming more involved in this thing, this movement that we're doing? Is that what we're,
I don't think that's necessarily the case. I think just this
this
piece
Peer.
in particular.
this peer thing?
Yeah, there's a really
This
high
peer thing.
expectation, because here took so long to build, and now the parking lot.
Okay,
took so long to
okay,
build.
I
It's
get
just
it.
they
It's a
want
bit of
something
a
really
point of
grandiose.
contention, it's a really
Okay.
important piece.
Okay.
I don't think they'll ever be this involved in the, I could be wrong, but like the sea life in the city, we're doing the turtle, we're gonna do something else.
The day-to-day,
I think they're gonna be very fine to, kind of take the direction that we provide and run with, just like on all the other pieces, we never received,
right.
all the three things we've done, we never received opposition from them.
I just found it interesting that they're becoming involved. And I was wondering if this is a trend or if it's just this,
This is just, I think, a really important piece.
This
I
piece,
think that
okay.
they probably didn't have any expectations about anything else, whereas they already have in
Yeah.
their mind
Now
that
that-
that they think this should be.
It's a balancing act for staff as well,
I
you know,
gotcha.
to,
we can
I
do
just
that.
think they're really excited about the art that is getting discussed and installed.
Yeah.
They wanna be more involved, but I don't think they wanna step on the board's toes. I think they wanna let you guys do what you're gonna do.
I got you.
This site in particular, I just think the expectation is.
This thing that we had on our second place was fish and,
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
That
I
was-
love that one.
yeah,
So good.
that was,
No.
I was happy
that was
with
Let's have it.
Yeah.
and that was all fish, and it kind of,
art stuff.
it kind of moves a little bit, I mean, so it seems like they make maybe one of the, if we don't, I guess if we do a call, I guess we would get all
Well, that's
kinds
the
of
thing, is we
submissions,
don't
so.
have to, so that's where, another reason I think we're gonna kind of see a little more involvement in this piece is because, yes, the expectation is kind of set. It's a really important piece, everyone's really excited about this project, this parking lot, everything as a whole. But also because now, more than ever, they're really aware, like, okay, we have this database, so we don't have to go spend 60 days trying to figure out what we want. We can say, you know what, we liked, this person's portfolio, we go straight to this person, and we get this piece commissioned. So it makes it a little bit of a simpler and quicker process, but you're also not gonna get that vast array of submissions either. So I think that's another reason they really wanna make sure we kind of set that stage for criteria if we decide to not go out and get, 90 submissions like we have before. We just work with 1, 2, maybe
Just
3
give them
artists.
the size and the theme and.
Budget and let them, the artists, kind of help us design it. I think that also plays into the involvement.
Cool, but if they come back and say they clearly want an arch, then that's the direction to get
Yeah.
created in,
Yeah.
period. I mean, if they come back and they see and that's what they're thinking
Yeah.
in their mind.
And we could appease that if in
Yeah.
fact they do with something that's not an actual arch, but something that's,
Correct.
Connect.
artistically,
Connecting.
Visually,
They could connect,
yes.
but not necessarily material-wise.
Exactly.
Yeah, not like
May have.
the commercialized.
exactly.
You know, it doesn't need to say Jacksonville Pier, there's a sign that says that, and
Yeah.
you're looking at it, and.
Yeah.
Well, I see those pictures a while back at Cocoa Beach Pier, the entrance, which is real basic.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, just has a, like a, pier post on either side, manufactured like that, fiberglass or something.
Sculpture.
And then it has, welcome to Cocoa Beach Pier.
Right.
And
Like
then it
Panama
has,
City Beach has, and they have like the different shops that
Yes.
are in the thing,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and they have like, they've sold signage on the sides of it,
Pier
because,
64,
Yeah.
Clearwater does.
because there's like a big shopping mall, that you walk out of the mall
Yeah, I'm
onto
pretty
the
sure.
pier, because it's so commercialized,
Pier 60, I think.
it's sad.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we want that.
Yeah, that's sad. That's just
You don't
sad.
want that, I'm just saying, that's what some people
Off-site
think.
commercial messages, I would say that.
You know, if you go to
We're not
Ivor,
Mm-hmm.
Ivor down there in Ybor, you know, in Tampa and stuff, it's very commercialized. It's almost like-
Sponges,
They wanna make it look like Disney.
sponges and octopus.
It's Disney and Universal all in
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. All right, well, we were just talking, and we're like, God, we really apologize for not thinking about this last night, because we had all of them in the same room, and we didn't think to ask.
So much
We just
stuff.
had so a new, software for polling and doing anonymous polls and anonymous, so we're gonna, honestly, may just poll council and CRA
Yeah.
and just get their answers, like,
Pull them individually,
Yeah.
we can just call them and.
yeah. We don't violate sunshine law by just talking to them
Ask them
one-on-one,
dumb
so we can do that,
And you could
I
have those
really
results in a
need
matter of
Molly.
days. Yeah.
yeah,
By the we, I mean Molly.
yeah, I'm not,
In between that idea, as far as using as an example, and the one that had the, almost like a fish hook
yep.
wave, you know, then
You could easily, manipulate those into the illusion of a full arch.
you
Exactly.
could use that as an example
Yeah,
that
agree.
they could see that, you know,
Yeah.
this is the angle to go.
That, I
You
like
see
that
that?
one, yes, that was one of the ones that I have saved, I have so many pieces of art saved on my
It's like
computer, it's not even
it's
funny.
like just an art, like a straight line arch, but then it's got little surfboards.
That
just
wrap it
outline,
underneath.
And kind of go over it, it says Imperial Beach,
Mhm.
San Diego,
Mhm.
it's pretty cool.
Well,
These look like little surfboards.
Let them
don't
know
they?
that we
Like kind of
would
going over the.
enjoy their input,
Okay,
but, you know,
You know what they-
we're not gonna be pigeonholed into like, you know, thinking,
And
oh
listen,
my God, we have to do
I
it.
could be wrong, but I
It
don't
could be
get
all
these
kinds of
vibes that that's what they wanna do.
Okay.
Kind of check all the boxes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
you
it
know?
in the daytime,
I like, that is cool.
see, that's an Imperial
We could go to
Beach,
California.
That's awesome.
yeah,
I like that a
so
lot.
I mean, we,
Simple.
yeah.
It is simple, but.
Simplicity
but
is the
really
most
cool.
effective.
And I mean, you could literally just put Jacksonville Beach in our font. That is cool.
Mhm.
There's a lot of-
25 feet up, right?
We can technically go 35 feet up,
Something
just
that's,
saying.
something
Yeah, the
that's,
big outlines could go
Yep.
20 feet tall.
something that's visible from a good distance, that,
We
that would
definitely
please.
want you to see it from Third. When you're turning down, you know, we don't want something small that gets lost. And again, because you're backing up against the horizon, so it's not even like you have a super solid, easy, you know, white background with bright stuff. It's easy to get lost with that as your
Yeah.
backdrop. So we'll keep all that in consideration, and we will do the work to start polling council and CRA, so we can make sure like we're understanding it correctly.
Direction
Yeah.
to go, so if we ask somebody this, combine this and this, and, you know, at least the artist has an idea of what they
Love that.
have in mind.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
Direction, so,
Yeah. Okay.
you know, if we already have a sign, what are they gonna do in the fenced-in area?
Nothing. I'm just kidding. So
That's there, the fenced-in area is
before
next
we,
to the
because
spring hill.
we're getting, let me go. I'm gonna go pull that PowerPoint up because it shows you what we're doing in there too, and I'll pull up the landscaping for the roundabout.
I have seen that shell that's sprayed with the glue, and it works really good. People have it on pools and stuff,
Mhm.
so it's the Campino with the
Is
sealer on it.
there a password I need for internet here?
No, the, COJB public should be open, there's no password. I think that's what it's called.
I just have a lot of people that know that I'm involved in Jack's Beach, and they always say, well, why is the fence still there?
Many reasons, many
I'm like,
reasons.
they're working on that.
Yeah, well, part of it was, it took over a year to get the permit from DEP to get approved to do anything. And it was being used by other parties.
Oh, what am I
It was the laydown area.
Laid out
for-
area for the pier, then Spring Hill, then Starbucks,
Yeah.
and then, we can't stray from our DEP permit
At
or
all.
we'll lose it. And it's so hard to find anybody to do anything these days, and we, on Monday, hopefully council will approve a new contract with a concrete company that can do concrete and pavers. So our plan is to, well, Taylor's gonna talk about it when she pulls it up, to do it kind of in pieces, so
Okay.
reopen that entrance. Here we go.
You guys want to see something cool?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Check this out.
I forgot about this.
Oh, man, 3D. Who put that together?
Half and Associates, our consultants on Latham.
That's nice.
This is basically taking the renderings that we had brought to council and it makes them
I like
come to
that.
life.
That's the little stage.
Yep,
Yeah, like a drone, like a drone's taking a picture.
exactly.
That keeps all the tent area
Mhm.
with the top up.
And you'll kind of see
That guy's moonwalking.
There he
I
is.
know, nobody's actually moving, but they,
So, all right. So this is what it is existing at your parking lot, and this is what is coming. So it'll be a one-way drive, literally straight down Fourth, dead end straight into the pier here. You
So
come
the
in, this
sign's not there?
drop off, do it.
The
The
sign?
signs to the left.
that
Oh,
little
yeah,
right
yeah,
oval,
okay.
yeah.
So it comes straight from Ford, you can only turn left, like I said, it's one way. This will be parking access to a line with Fourth Ave North, this is all pavered, you got bike racks lining the front, and then this is all new landscaped, and pavered areas, and then these pavers and landscape beds line up with the existing pier. So then our piece would kind of fall somewhere back in this region, so. And
That's nice.
we got the thumbs up last night from both, groups to get started. Oh, there we go. All right, so this is what the site was. This was just a picture that the consultants used. It's not the current condition. And what we're proposing is this. Minus this front area, this will have a slope off, so this will all be ADA accessible. We're gonna keep the vegetation in between the palm trees relatively low, so it's not easy to get in there and do things you shouldn't. The mulch will not be mulch. We are having them change that. It's gonna, again, be that crushed coquina shell. And then we're gonna have some thicker vegetation that's gonna butt right up against that fence, because the problems that we ran into before were there was a gap between the large vegetation and the fence, and people would kind of get back there and do sketchy things. So we're trying to eliminate that. And these columns, I'm sorry, they don't look great. It's because I literally photoshopped them onto the picture myself.
You did a
So I did my best. So that's, and council and CRA all gave their thumbs up to start working with landscapers and
Looks great.
get this moving. And then these were the updates we gave them. I forgot. So those are the 7 columns that Ernesto Gosh and Xavier's doing, and then this is actually in progress stuff. So that's actually, these are the things that the meeting that he passed around and brought.
Right.
The samples and the glaze and the tile work of the cast for the mold. And then here's the seahorse. And that seahorse sample color in person was just stunning. I mean, the picture does not do it justice. Same with the horseshoe crab. The crab interior and exterior colors, they almost, the way the glaze was done, they almost looked like they glowed almost. It was really, really cool. And then the fish are all gonna be different colors, and then, each column, as we get deeper into the ocean, the water gets darker. And then we get off into the Blake Plateau, which this first layer will have different corals that are native to the plateau. And then the ridge is gonna feature these sea animals that NOAA has found, which is really cool. And then the deepest layer.
Great.
Yeah, super excited. And then we updated them, again on, kind of went through all these things that we were just talking about with them. Oh, and this is just boring downtown stuff. So that is what we talked to them last night about, and they said we'll do our homework, on figuring out exactly the direction they want us to take.
I like the rays on that on the sides.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's fun, you know.
Surfer and the walking people.
Needs to be bigger,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
otherwise you won't be able to see.
Yeah.
But I think something along those lines could be good direction with, where you can see the sky through it and stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe where it's got openings.
But it could even be bigger than that though, correct?
Mhm.
I mean, it could be,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
Take those two sides and blow them out
Yeah.
and leave the Jack's Beach at the top and,
massive,
and
yeah.
just scatter the different things on maybe on the sides, beach bucket and fish and, surfing. I don't know. But I think along that lines to give the artist direction,
Well, let's see what the council says.
Yeah.
they have to have an art.
Yep, we will pull them, and get that answer, and then at our next meeting, have that answer, and then we can really actually start getting into the nitty
the golf cart lane.
It really is.
Yeah. They're everywhere.
They are.
That was all that we had, on our list of things.
Yeah, so we're gonna wait to hear back from you in reference to some guidance.
Yep, we'll poll them, and, if we get our answers back before the meeting, you know, I'll kind of draft up a memo to send to everyone, just so you're aware. I won't make us wait, you know, a full month, I'll kind of keep everyone in the loop as our conversations evolve with.
We could look for some of our own, you know,
Yes.
examples. maybe.
Absolutely, yeah.
Did you want to have this?
So the next meeting
For a thumbnail.
is a question mark?
The next one would be July the 18th, as of right now, that would be our next meeting, unless we have,
July 18th?
yes.
I won't be.
Unless we have something we need to talk
Yeah.
about.
I will be in Europe, so I will be.
Okay, well then that cancels it right
I'll be in
there.
Ecuador.
Yeah.
Yes, that'd be, you'd be an Ecuador, you'd be in
We'll
Europe.
give you all a break and skip July.
Well, no, we could just go
Or just do
earlier.
a different date, yeah.
Let's go earlier,
I'll leave on the 15th.
a week earlier, or the Thursday earlier, or just,
I don't know, I know that date.
I know that I could potentially do the 11th.
Okay,
If
all
that
right,
works
I'll have
for
to,
anyone.
and you said you leave
I
the
leave-
15th,
I
so
leave-
you'd be here?
I leave midday on the 12th.
Okay,
And
all right,
I won't be back until let's call it the 5th of August.
It's a long trip.
I'm going the
That's
3rd.
incredible.
I'm the 15th to August 3rd, because school starts August 4th. My
Okay.
wife will have to be back.
All right, I will check with the clerk's office and see if we're able to meet here on the 11th, and if so, I'll send you guys the notice and make that change.
Okay.
Otherwise, we'll just, you know, we're flexible, we'll figure out something, make it work,
we're on the 11th?
possibly.
Let's
Tuesday.
pencil that in.
I'll be,
Yeah,
I'll be,
and-
No, the 11th
For
is a
now.
Thursday.
I'll be in South Jack's Beach.
Yeah.
All July.
Yeah, I'm,
Mostly saying.
Yeah,
And August. And September.
that's right
Or
where
you
you
going to Europe?
Be in Northern Spain for a couple of weeks, and then Greece, our friends, big boat.
Oh, my
The
God.
30th. Yeah.
Nice,
wow.
nice.
Nice family trip, including kids who off the town.
Yeah,
Nice.
The food in Spain is to die for.
It is so good.
yeah. Where in
And
Spain?
then I'll be in San Sebastian and Rioja the first week, and Barcelona. the
Where's San
second.
Sebastian? Beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Yeah. In Greece.
Are you a meat eater?
I am.
The steaks in Spain, man, they know how to raise their cattle.
All right,
I mean, seafood too, just trust me, you'll get it all, they have, the meals there are just outrageously.
all right.
We give it something to look at.
We good? Everybody comfortable? Got a direct